Welcome into Double Up. I'm your host, Dubs Anderson. You're watching along on the FanDuel Racing digital channels. What is going on? The second week of November. How are we already here? Cannot believe it. Thanksgiving just a couple of weeks away. And the great thing about the sport of horse racing, there is never an off week. There is never an off day. So as we try and close out 2024, there's still some great stakes action we'll see from coast to coast. And you can watch all of it over on the FanDuel TV channel. You can wager along at the FanDuel Racing app. This is meant to be a collaboration here on Double Up. I want to know your best bets, the tracks you're playing coming in to a new weekend of racing and wagering. I'm going to come up with a couple of previews for my three favorite races coming into a fantastic weekend on the betting side of things as well. A quick scan, quick overview, if you will, of what is going on Saturday and Sunday. We'll even jump into a little Friday. Big superstar returning. I think you know where I'm going to go with that one. Bob Baffert has a runner running on Saturday beneath the Twin Spires. It's going to be the first time since 2021. That's a big deal as well. We got some great stakes action from out east at Aqueduct. The Central Park is going to be one of the races that we jump into. 150k on the line. They'll also feature the Notebook. We've got some great action. The Desi Arnaz down there at the Seaside Oval from Del Mar, Gulfstream Park, up there at Woodbine with the Autumn as well. On Sunday, the 17th of November, what do we have on tap? The party continues from Ozone Park, the Big A getting set for the Key Sense in the Tappan. We've also got some great action out here on the West Coast, including the Bob Hope. That will be the big feature from the Del Mar Thoroughbred Club on Sunday afternoon. So what else do we have going on? Getting set for a little week 11 in the National Football League. The NBA, the Hoops continues at the point at this time of taping. Cleveland Cavs, they're still undefeated. But if you're into betting, if you're into playing the ponies, I'm going to try and get you a couple of plus money plays so we can hopefully put a couple of extra shekels into our back pocket. So with that being said, the main events, the main races that I'm looking forward to this weekend, it's going to be Tamra returning on Friday. You may watch this prior, after. Tamra's going to be back there in race number 7 from the Seaside Oval, Del Mar, Friday afternoon. And I'm sure you're aware, Tamra's a superstar in the sport. This time last year was the Big Buzz horse, being the daughter of Beholder, a Hall of Fame champion, 18-time winner, more than $6 million in career earnings. The daughter of Baldioro, who certainly had a strong career and credentials there as well. But don't get it twisted. We saw that Tamra has every chance of being the superstar that her mum was, and we're lucky enough to get to see her back in the mix. It's been a long and testing path here for the connections, Richard Mandela, and trying to get Tamra set for racing again. They tried to get things going earlier this year, as recently as October. A couple of setbacks, most recently with that spiked fever, but looking good from what I've seen going through the morning works. It's looked very sharp up the road there at Santa Anita. It looks to have filled out a little bit, and this is likely going to be a bit of a tune-up ahead of the La Brea coming up, I guess, just over a month away later this year, once we get back up to Santa Anita. So Tamra's return, one of the big storylines in the sport of racing. She looks fantastic, and I really think she is worth the price of admission. She's listed at 4 to 5 on the morning line, and she's got a couple of formidable foes. But if she comes back just at 80%, at 75%, that's going to be enough to take this prep race on Friday afternoon. The Desi Arnaz, the Bob Hope Stakes. We've got the Central. So let's start with the West Coast Special. We'll start with the Desi Arnaz. It'll be on Saturday afternoon. So hopefully when you watch this episode of Double Up, this is still in your future. You're already sitting back enjoying what you saw from Tamra out there in your Friday afternoon. But the Desi Arnaz will be the Saturday feature, 7 furlongs. The 2-year-old fillies going the distance, which is known to be a quirky one. Not quite at the mile, but just a little step up from the 6.5 furlongs. And this looks to be a really strong addition. It's going to be early on the Saturday card. It goes off as race number 2, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 o'clock Pacific, and it's all about Bob Baffert. I mean, very good chance that Baffert gets a 7th victory in the Desi Arnaz Stakes. Let's just call it the Bob Baffert sweepstakes, if you will. He trains 4 of the 5 runners expected to go forward in this one. And taking a look at the smaller field here. I do think it's going to be all about your leading pilot. Let's not look any further than Silent Law. Juan Hernandez gets all the top mounts, all the top choices from the Bob Baffert barn. Has been sensational through the first couple of starts there. A winner with stakes company last out up at Santa Anita on the 25th of October. This 2-year-old filly looks to be an absolute professional out there on course. Whatever is asked, she steps up and delivers in bunches. So Silent Law, expected to be the early speed of this field, gets another step up in trip to the 7 furlongs, and I think should absolutely handle that distance. B selection amongst a smaller field. Look towards the Tim Yak team runner. If there's anyone who's looking to spoil this party, it's Tim Yakteen himself. A very competent trainer, has got a very strong relationship with Bob Baffert and has a great presence out here on the West Coast. Practical Dream gets star pilot Antonio Fraser. We all know Antonio Fraser by now, but at this time last year, not a lot of us were, I guess, aware of how good he really was as a rider. Since coming across to Southern California, he has been absolutely fantastic. So for Practical Dream, finished runner-up last out to Silent Law. Going to try and turn the tables in this one. You look at that last race, there was only the 4 of them going up there at Santa Anita on the 25th. So let's see if we can play spoiler in the Desi Arnaz. Race number 2 from Del Mar, Saturday afternoon. And top selection we're going with is Silent Law to silence the critics. There's not many critics, to be real. It's just Silent Law, short price, playing the favourite. Don't overthink it. When the chalk makes sense, they do win between 30 and 34% of their starts in this great game of thoroughbred racing. We've spoken about Tamara's return Friday at Del Mar. We've gone over the Desi Arnaz, Silent Law to absolutely come up with a big performance of Bob Baffert and just one of the many Baffert runners in that race with star pilot Juan Hernandez getting the mount. Let's take it out to the East Coast. The Big A Aqueduct getting set for another fantastic weekend of racing, and there's no shortage of stakes action. The race that we will feature here on Double Up is going to be the Central Park. They've got a purse of $150,000. The common theme going into this weekend is the younger runners, a battle of the 2-year-olds with an affinity to get out there on the turf course. Now, a few of these runners have got some experience, positive experience under the belt. Quick scan overview of this field. It's McDiesel from the inside at a big price who has flashed a bit of speed, but it's been speed and fade. Sounds like a plan. The two starts was a nice win last out, but this is going to be a much tougher step up in competition. Fire Pit, very impressive and gets Michael Sanchez in the irons. Was a winner at the optional claiming level last out on the 25th of October, but since coming out onto that turf course has looked to be a different animal. Jack and Jim, the 4 for Graham Motion. A closing kick if I've ever seen one. It gets a little cutback, one of the few runners getting a cutback in distance, and should appreciate the Manny Franco in the irons. Davy Crockett's the 5, Not For Hire is the 6 there for George Weaver. Will be the early pace setter of the field. If you look at the figs, very impressive from what we did see in start number 1. It's just going to be a question mark from the 6 furlongs up to the distance here for this one of a mile. Not sure if the fitness and stamina is in the legs quite yet. Manhattan Twist is the 7, gets one of the best pilots in the world. Irad Ortiz riding for Todd Pletcher. It was a bit of a question mark with what we saw last out on the 22nd of September across their right here, at this very ballpark. Just didn't have it, completely missed the jump and was playing catch up, never got back in to that event. But if we go off what we did see earlier in the career, there's a bit of upside, needs to get back to that, and certainly would have to clock a career best speed figure and trying to take this one down for the Central Park. Smooth Breeze, when it's breezy, swing easy. I think this could be the runner to watch. I think we could get a bit of a price here. Dylan Davis, he's fresh off having a fantastic week out at the Big A. Smooth Breeze, the number 8, listed at 8-1 on the morning line. Ran the Grade 2 Pilgrim last out. Was right there in the mix early, tied off late. Should appreciate the cutback in distance. My B selection, early adopter, the 9. Flavian Pratt Ryans for Chad Brown. Looks to be taking a step in the right direction. Also comes out of that last featured event in the Pilgrim. Bested out my top endorsement, the 8 Smooth Breeze, but I think there's a bit more upside with the 8 over the 9, but I think this is where the race funnels through between these two runners. Super Swift is the 10, John Velasquez aboard for George Weaver, and the 11 also eligible, Rock D'Oro, Javier Castellano getting aboard this runner coming across from the UK. Back-to-back runner-ups, but really tough in trying to find that measuring stick for Rock D'Oro. So in terms of how we think the Central Park is going to play out, race number 9 out at Aqueduct for Saturday afternoon. It's all about the 8 and 9 for me. I love that 1-2 punch. Let's throw a little exacta in the mix. It's Smooth Breeze with another step forward, having that early speed, who will look to control the tempo in this one. If you're looking for contrasting run style, early adopter, going to get a very nice pace setup starting alongside Smooth Breeze. These two were squaring off in that last race for the Pilgrim. Neither got the score on that afternoon, but I think they both have a very good chance coming in for this one. So give me Smooth Breeze up on top, early adopter underneath. So here are a couple of my favorite plays coming into a new weekend of racing and wagering. It's all about the return of Tamra. Maybe it's about the return of Bob Baffert with a runner at Churchill Downs for the first time since 2021. Or could it all be about Bob Baffert and the Desi Arnaz? It looks to be all about the Baffert sweepstakes. Tim Yaktine trying to spoil the upset in that one, but it looks to be Silent Law trying to sizzle on your Saturday at the seaside oval underneath that Southern California sun. And from the Big A out there in New York, Smooth Breeze looking to cruise on them. Give me the 8 over the 9. So that's a quick snapshot. Look ahead to this weekend in racing, and for you sports bettors, you can jump in and play at the FanDuel Racing app. The NFL continues, the NBA continues, the PGA continues, and that plus money, it's all the same. The great thing about this game, less than 2.5 minutes of action depending on the distance, but we're getting set to watch a couple of young superstars in the sport. Second week of November. This has been your latest episode of Double Up. Good luck, cash them tickers, and let me know where you're leaning.